All right, everybody, welcome back to your favorite, least educated music podcast on the internet. We don't know Toots. This is one host, Rob, Unleaded 87 Schultz. Next to me, I am joined in person for our about yearly. Well, no, we've actually done two in person already this year, and we're probably going to do a third.
Did we do two? What was I
Yeah, we did the Sum 41 in person. But I am joined in person with my brother and my co-host, Steve Flatulence Schultz. What's going on, Flatulence?
Oh, just flatulence.
I should have guessed. Well, today we are talking about our Wrapped, reviewing our Wrapped, our top songs, top bands, how ridiculously bad Wrapped was this year.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, robots. Yeah, I'm still upset that we don't get to see our top genres.
I'm still because honestly, so I was getting super into like blues rock, blah blah blah, whatnot this year. So I was looking forward to seeing that top genre. So then I could actually like use that and build off that and try and find even more music based on whatever that genre would be. Because I still am not even sure what music I'm listening to. And getting a summary of Fairy Princess Dark Arts Motorcycle Mechanic Rock doesn't tell me anything about what music. I want to know actually what music, what I'm getting into, because I have no idea what it is.
Yeah. I showed you, I sent that screenshot to the group chat last week where I was listening to my day list and the AI called it the sticky gyat Saturday afternoon. I'm like, nothing I've ever done in my life would lead a robot to believe that I like the word sticky gyat.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
And like ones like that is even like double stupid because it's not only like something that's not an actual music genre that
It's like non-words.
They're trying to use like cool trendy words that like sixth graders use. They're like, man, all these funny kids on Fortnite said gyat a bunch. We should use that as part of our algorithm because that's who our target audience is a bunch of sixth graders. That's who we use.
Spotify's AI and algorithm has declined so severely. I guess supposedly they fired a bunch of people that were in charge of rap last year.
I looked into it actually.
Yeah.
Like just before actually because I was curious and I wanted to actually figure out why. So what it was is they fired the guy that was in charge, like apparently who's like a music legend. His name is, and you might recognize the name because I know you know his website, Glenn McDonald, who created the website Every Noise, right? Is that?
Oh, yeah.
So the guy that created that music that has real genre names, industrial techno,
Yeah.
but Eurodance, deep vocal house, they fired that guys. And apparently, and this is just based off a Reddit thread, I did not verify this at all, but apparently they fired him and like 1,000 or so other people, and they did not have reasons for it. They just allocated the funds to hires up, so higher ups made more money.
Wow.
And then they obviously everyone knows they just used AI for everything this year, and it was awful.
I mean, like, obviously, it wasn't one guy just sitting in there typing up everybody's Spotify Wrapped. Like, obviously, there was already software and data just, like, automatically making these rap.
But he created the algorithm that Spotify Wrapped used. So it was him that actually created Spotify Wrapped. And then he was in charge of it. And, like, all these, like, amazing things that Spotify has used for Spotify Wrapped is what he created. And so they decided, which is insane business sense to me.
Yeah, because they know how much, like, Wrapped I feel like Wrapped is a large reason people use Spotify because they're either intentionally or unintentionally like manipulating their stats.
Yeah, there's like the amount of like TikToks and reels I see about people who are like, I spent this whole year trying to do this for Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, for a joke or whatever. Like, who was the one guy was listening to like the BK Whopper song for an entire year?
BK Whopper song is the guy that listened to just McDonald's Wrapped.
Oh my gosh.
I saw this other one where this girl, her friend's Spotify was synced up to their Amazon Alexa, and so every time she was home and her friend wasn't home, she just had the Amazon Alexa playing the Star Spangled Banner on repeat for a whole year's like video of her just doing it.
Like, I've never been. I like to actually look at my Wrapped and see what I liked throughout the year. Like, I like actually knowing what my actual top bands were and what my actual songs were. I like going back and be like, yeah, I saw this one coming or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of like I don't want this band to be in my top 5. I'm gonna skip listening to this, or I don't want this song to be in my top 5. Like, if I like the song, I want my stats to show it, but
Yeah. And if you're one of those grumps that hates and complains when people post their Spotify Wrapped on their Instagram stories or whatever, you are
you're ruining the fun.
big whiner.
You're ruining the fun. I love seeing people's Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah. I like to see how cool my friends are.
Yeah.
I had a lot of uncool friends this year. A lot of like just straight up basic garbage music. Like, oh, I'm so silly that Taylor Swift was my top artist. Like, yeah, so silly. Like, relax. No, you're not.
Well, speaking of top artists, who was I know we have shared our top songs and bands, but and I remember who your top one is, but let's start with number 5. Who was your number 5?
Number 5, along with number, a lot of this is going to be influenced by this podcast and same for Rob, because we sit here and like, we'll spend like a week listening to the same album or something.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 was definitely influenced by this, but I will say all 5 of my top 5 artists are still great artists that I still would be listening to no matter what.
Yeah.
But so number 5, I have Rain City Drive.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, Rain City Drive.
That new album was sick.
Yeah.
And I already had some of their music saved, and then you suggested music from them. So like, I've been getting into them anyways near the end of the year.
I'm kind of surprised they weren't in my top 5, because yeah, they had the new album, and I've always had songs. I've had a few songs over the years saved in my liked songs and different playlists. But like this year, I actually got into Rain City Drive, so I'm surprised they weren't in my top 5.
I honestly was surprised they weren't in your top 5 either, because I didn't think I listened to them as much as you did.
One of their songs was in my top 5 songs.
Yeah, but you suggested like one of the songs on the podcast. You're like, yeah, I've been listening to them. They're a great band, and then we listened to the album. So I figured you listened to them more. But I mean, you had more minute to listen than I did.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, that was surprising.
Yeah.
Who was your number 5?
Numero 5 for me was The Story So Far. I don't feel like I know I don't like just go listen to The Story So Far, but I have like all their music ever saved across wherever. So they're always coming up on my shuffle, and I know Spotify is always, when their algorithm's always pushing Nerve on me. I don't know why. Like anytime my songs are shuffling, I love the song, but man, as much as they make me listen to it, I end up skipping it a lot. But they had a new album this year, which was really good. I know we wanted to review it at one point. Yeah, we didn't get the time or whatever, but
Yeah.
but they had a new album, and then I always have them in the rotation. So
I'll be honest.
I'm not surprised to see them here, but not a band that I intentionally just listen to just them as much anymore.
I was shocked because they didn't even end up in my top 20, and I have a bunch of their music saved.
Yeah.
I think like,
Really, they didn't end up in your top.
there were several bands that I was surprised didn't end up in my top 20, because I guess I found so many new bands this year, and so many, like, just because I was getting into that blues side of thing and whatnot, that I guess it just pushed out some of those ones that are always like older bands that I don't listen to as much anymore. It just got pushed out. So, well, all right. Well, my number 4, this isn't so, I mean, the podcast definitely helped, but I still have been jamming them this year. Palais Royale. That new album was pretty good. I have several songs saved from that new album, and I've gone back and listened to more of it, and it's grown on me even more. But they're someone who I like. I know end of last year I was getting into them, but this year they've been.
Yeah, their new album I saved when we did the episode for the new album. I saved a bunch of them to my random playlist to come back and listen to later, and I have been slowly adding some of those songs from the album into my liked songs, but they didn't crack top 20 for me. There's just something about that band, even though I like a lot of bands in that general genre of their sound, like they just, for some reason, that band doesn't entirely click for me, and I don't know why. But my number 4 was I don't know where I was going with that, was Mac Miller. The Mac Miller University, and R.I.P. But yeah, I'm not surprised he was there. He's almost always in my top 5. I love Mac Miller.
He'll probably be in your top 5 again next year then with them.
Yeah, we'll see the new unreleased album coming out.
Yeah.
With his OG, I don't know if it's like his like first ever album, and that's why it was never like actually released. But I know it's like his one of his old albums that just it was at least.
It's gonna be so good. And if it's like old music too, it's not even like that stuff. Adam that you were like saying, oh, I've been kind of messing with this right before he died. That's gonna be, man. I didn't realize it was an older thing. I thought it was just like some music he was already planning on. He had been working on.
Yeah, no, I guess, and I think we touched on this the last time we did our episode on our last episode, but I guess like over the years, like tracks have been released or whatever, like on like SoundCloud or something, or like I know people have had like unofficial releases saved as like a MP3 file, but it's never been on like a streaming service. It's never been on like a CD or anything. So
Yeah.
as far as I know, I guess I listen to a lot of Mac Miller, but I'm not fully into the lore or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that upcoming album. I'm sure that'll keep him in my top 5 for next year.
I'll give it a listen. I mean, that'll probably be a future episode, but maybe.
Well,
I know maybe
we are still focusing primarily on rock.
Yeah.
But
I know Durbin's gotten into Mac Miller a lot this year as well.
good for him. Good for him.
So my number 3 was a band that I got into like at the end of last year, but this year I was actually like trying to get into. It was Highly Suspect.
Oh yeah.
Very good band.
Mhm.
So I know they did have, I believe it was them that had an album released this year,
I think they did.
because I remember that was actually pretty awful.
Was it really?
I think so, because I remember seeing that it came out. I was like, sick. I've got a solid album. What was that? Yeah, I need to listen to it again just because, but I think it was them that I listened to, and I was like, man, I was really bummed that was it. I don't want to call them out because I do love Highly Suspect, and I might be totally wrong. I might be thinking of someone else, but I think it was them, and the new album was not good. But
Bummer.
sorry, Highly Suspect, if it was you that I was thinking of. But overall, yeah, an absolute jam of a band for sure. Especially if you like that. I don't know, dude, I'm so bad at.
Yeah, I never really know how to call anybody's genre. Like I don't know all the rock, but yeah, horror for sure. Yep.
So if you like,
borderline dad rock almost.
yeah, like a heavier alt rock, yeah, for sure. Like a little grungy. It's still a little like
Radio rock. Like I guess the radio rock in my head, because the first time I ever heard a Suspect was My Name Is Human, and I heard that on my old hometown's like rock station.
yeah.
So I guess that's why they're radio rock in my head. But that one's a banger. But outside of that, I haven't listened to a whole lot of Highly Suspect. I know you super into them though.
Yeah, it is crazy. So My Name Is Human has 127 million listens. Lydia has 131, and all the others are sub 100,000. The next highest is 64 million, or not 100,000. Sorry, sub 100 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was like
then it's saying a significant drop off.
yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. I mean, all of their top songs are pretty solid. Little One is the first one. That's that one. And I was like, dang, that song's sick. So that's what got me going to their stuff.
My number 3 was someone that, as when Spotify Wrapped first began, was my number 3, used to be my number 1 up until last year. He went down to number 2, and now number 3 is Logic. But at one point he had retired a couple years back, but he's been putting out an album every year.
Yeah.
And I know we did a review of his album last year.
Yeah.
But we didn't do it this year. He hasn't. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I like a lot of his new albums, and a lot of his new songs, but nothing hits quite like old Logic. So I guess that's why he keeps falling down the rankings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was your top one for several years. Though.
Yeah, for like probably as long as Spotify Wrapped was around, up until 2023, he was number 2 last year. And
I remember you being so heartbroken that he had finally slid to number 2.
I wasn't like heartbroken. You were very surprised.
Yes, you were. You're like, oh, I always dream about kissing him, but I'm not gonna kiss someone in number 2.
I sent him a handwritten letter and like, I'm sorry, man. I tried. I let you down.
I was putting in that work, but
I know you were looking for me, and I couldn't pull through it. And this year, I'm too ashamed to even write him a letter. I don't want to tell him he's number 3 now.
I have like one of his songs. I have Ballin' saved.
That's it.
Yeah. Dang. That's just not. I mean, I said this a million times, and when we did music reviews for like Logic and other rap albums, just not my style of music.
Yeah,
at all.
I mean, you're not really into rap and hip hop too much at all.
I'm really not, especially when it gets to like that R&B, like because those genres kind of start like I feel like are all in one big.
A little bit, yeah.
Like I get listeners, relax. I get R&B and rap are two different things, but it's just kind of like if you were looking at a flow chart, they would be in line with each other eventually. Like anytime an R&B round comes up in music, like I hate it. It's so boring.
It's boring. I like sometimes when I'm like really not sure what I want to listen to, like a lot of times my day list is like really heavy hard rock of some sort.
Yeah.
And like sometimes, a lot of the times, honestly, like when I'm like looking for new music is about the only time I open up my day list. I'm like, I wonder what my day list has for me. And then it's something heavy. I'm like, I don't want to listen to something heavy right now, even though apparently I did enough to make it think that's what I wanted to listen to right now. But
Mm-hmm.
R&B, I listen to a lot of R&B when I'm trying to find something not heavy to listen to.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I just usually that's what my blues-ish playlist is for
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, Rob, I'll let you tell me who's your number 2, brother.
Number 2, surprisingly for me, I thought number 2 was gonna be number 1, was Polaris.
And it should be number 1.
It should. I really genuinely, because at one point I thought I was gonna go see them, so I was like, I'm not super familiar with their like first original album because it's kind of like that underproduced, like not like great quality that they have past that album. But I thought I was gonna go see them, so I was trying to like brush up on some songs that I didn't know, and I genuinely was like actually getting into them even more this year. Like I've been listening to them for a few years now, but I was really actually getting into them this year. I really thought it would be number 1, but this podcast, and I mean, I'll get into the number 1 here in a minute, but this podcast definitely pushed them down to number 2, I guess.
Yeah. My number 2 was I'm in the same boat because I was literally like I've been saying I'm like I guarantee you this band is gonna be number 1 in my Spotify Wrapped. The Glorious Sons because
I could not remember your 2 through 5 at all.
I've been jamming them so hard this year. They have such a wide range of different song styles, so I have them in a bunch of different playlists. So and I love all of their songs that I have saved. I rarely skip their song unless it's like, no, I've been listening to it too much. I don't want to beat it to death, and so I'll force myself to skip it.
Yeah.
But like nothing wrong with some Glorious Sons. They've got like honestly, like if you're not sure, like you listen to one of their songs, you're like, yeah, that's not really my type of music. Just listen to a different one of the songs, or it'll be like a totally different style. It's wild, but it's all really good music. So
Yeah.
they definitely
Well,
they'd be like, I can't say who my favorite band is of all time. I don't know, honestly. I'd probably have to say something like Fall Out Boy or
I think my number 1 all time would have to be Fall Out Boy, just because of nostalgia, and because obviously a lot of their old stuff is like really good.
yeah, nostalgia, and
It's just it's so good even now, and then we've seen them however many times, and
yeah. But I like if I was asked what like my current favorite band is, it would definitely be the Glorious Sons.
currently, really?
Yeah, like not all time. It's just right now, if like a go-to band. If someone asks for a recommendation, like, hey, give me a band I should listen to. I'm like, Glorious Sons, guaranteed.
I think for me, I would have to be probably Trophy Eyes.
Oh, really?
I mean, my current favorite is probably Polaris,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna recommend Polaris to
No.
almost anybody.
Yeah,
That's an
I would recommend Glorious Sons to people for sure.
But if I wanted to recommend something that I think the general public might like, I think Trophy Eyes, because they're like the Glorious Sons. They have a lot of different sounds too. They have some of that old school, like really screamy punk sound, and then they have a lot of like more melodic, like upbeat rock. And
I was going through and listening to the music because we were talking about them a couple episodes ago, and I had to like go cook. I had to cook like right after we were done doing that podcast or something like that. So I was just listening to them on repeat. I was like, dang, yeah, not bad. They made it in a lot of top 20 for me.
yeah, same.
Which I guess I'm not surprised that they do. Well, you're saying. All right, I'm gonna say my number 1, and then you tell me your number 1, and then we'll discuss.
We'll compare how they line up.
We'll compare them. So my number 1 was Sum 41. Rob, what was your number 1, dude?
I hope you're sitting down.
I am.
But it was also Sum 41. There was Sum 41, yeah.
Absolutely insane. Yeah.
Which I guess at first my first reaction was like, see, there's no way Spotify Wrapped's data is actually accurate. There's no way that there was my number one. But then I thought about it. They had a new album this year.
Yeah.
We reviewed it.
Which we did for a podcast.
Yeah, we reviewed it on here, and I spent a long time listening to it because it was a long album.
Yeah.
And we also went and seen them.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had to keep listening to the album so I could be familiar with the songs when we saw them live. Plus, I guess, I mean, Sum 41 is one of those bands I don't really have to bone up on
Yeah.
if I'm going to go see them. I don't have to remember their old songs because they've been in rotation as long as I've been listening to music, really. But I didn't think I was boning up on them that much, but apparently they're my number one somehow.
Well, and so I was scrolling through our wait, what was Sum 41's newest album called though? I thought it was Lamb.
Album in Hell.
Oh, it was okay. That's what I was like. I was thinking it was Landmines because that's like the main song from that's the big one, and it has a totally different cover art. And then I was going through our podcast today trying to figure out who my top artists were, and I was like, Heaven and Hell. I'm like, did they come out with 2 albums this year?
Nope.
No. But yeah, that's yeah, and it's the same for why they're my tops.
Apparently, I guess Landmines they wrote to like sell to somebody else.
Yeah, I saw that.
I just saw that
Because it was like a little thing
yeah.
like when you're scrolling through your Spotify Wrapped and he told.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. Yep. Yeah. That's where I saw it from. Yeah, they wrote it for just to sell to somebody else, but then they ended up loving it, and now I guess it's the lead singer's like one of their favorite songs to play.
Yeah, because he hasn't gone on tour with it for like 10 years and just beat it.
Yeah, sure.
That would have to get so old. I'm sure it's still fun, but I always wondered that. Like, Sum 41, been around 20 some years. They've been going on tour. Like, how sick and tired are they of playing Fat Lip?
Yeah, right.
And In Too Deep? Like, I get their absolute jams, and they're showmen, so they have to, on stage, they have to get, so they probably do get into it. Like, once you force yourself to get into it, then your body just takes over, and you're like, yeah, now I'm just jamming, and like, you do end up having fun. But I mean, after playing it for the time in a year,
you have to really be in tune with the crowd. Like, if you see the crowd like excited to hear the song, especially because like not everyone there has seen them as many times as we have. Not that we've seen them a certain amount of time, but a lot of people, that's their first Sum 41 concert. They're like, I really want to hear Fat Lip.
Yeah.
So like, if they get up on stage and like, here's Fat Lip.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of go, just pluck the strings a little bit and don't get into it, then that's going to kill it for the crowd. So, like, I feel like you'd have to feed off the energy.
Yeah.
Like,
Detroit would not help that.
Panic at the Disco really hates playing I Write Sins Not Tragedies. Have you seen that compilation of him just, like, cussing at how mad he is? He's like, I hate this song.
No.
It's been a couple years since I've seen that video, but there was a compilation of him just being like right when he goes, right before the first chorus kicks in, and the groom bride is and instead of going horror or whatever, he goes, oh, I hate this song. I time him. Yeah, he apparently is just sick and tired of that song.
And that song, and he's probably had to play that more than, once one of their songs. So that song was like a defining song.
Oh yeah, that's what put them on the map for sure.
Yeah, so
that's what he gets for writing a banger.
Yeah,
that's his fault. He should have just been writing terrible music. Like, he should have been writing whatever his last couple albums were his whole career and never had to worry about that.
Yeah. I was into
up until too weird to live, too young to die, or whatever. Is that what it's called? The one where he's like smoking and the little rainbows are there.
I don't know. I honestly don't know Panic at the Disco very well.
Past that album, I don't.
I know they're super popular music, but like, I'll go and like see an album cover. I'm like, I've never seen them before in my entire life. Is that
High Hopes song? Oh, that's so awful. Like,
oh yeah,
high hopes for the livings.
Something else.
As soon as I heard that song, I'm like, man, what a drop off.
Yeah. Well, the Such Death of Basics, or is that the one with the neon and everything on it?
Yeah. That's a bad song.
Some good.
That's like a whole different sound. He really flexes his vocals on that. It's almost like show tunes.
Yeah.
I really like that. That is the first solid album. Not one that I don't really go back to any of his music at all, but
I don't either. I'll hear a song and be like, yeah, that's a good song, or it's like one that I haven't heard in forever, and I'll randomly add it to my playlist, and then eventually I'll take it out of my playlist because I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't like that song that much anymore. Yeah. So, all right, top 5 songs though. Here we'll have this Last on Friday, and this will be more accurate because this was not impacted by the podcast at all, for sure. So
you could make the argument for one of mine, but
All right, start us off, Rob. Give me your number.
Number 5 would be Blessed Be by Spirit Box. A band, dude, well, I'm foreshadowing a little bit here. We're going to lightly cover our top 20 artists of the year. Spirit Box was not in my top 20, which blows my mind because I listened to them and they're one of those bands, especially this song and a couple of their other songs, is one of those ones that just keep coming up in the algorithm for me. Like they played a lot of Spirit Box and I always listened to it. I was very surprised they were not in my top 20.
Huh.
But Blessed Be by Spirit Box, maybe my favorite. I don't even know if it's my favorite by them, but apparently it was this year.
All right. Well, my fifth song was Lose Control by Teddy Swims.
Oh,
Because, dude, I love that song. I'm not gonna apologize for editing my top great song. It's yeah song. I was actually very surprised to see it in my top. So I will say, like, I think my top 5 were a little influenced by Spotify's algorithm having the inability to recognize the song I just listened to 20 minutes ago.
so I need to come back up.
And also because, like, so we play that Music League, right? Chat, you listen to us talk about that all the time.
You bring it up at least once an episode.
And so once that playlist is done, because it's always like however many people we have playing, 6 to 8 songs. Once it's done, I usually just let Spotify shuffle because that's how I found some good songs and stuff like that. And it's when I don't feel like trying to find other music. And it consistently, almost every time, it starts off with the same song. Like a mo, it always gives me the same song. And then it'll shuffle in random ones after that. So there's definitely some.
Yeah, Nerve by Story so far is the one for sure that they pushed on me the most, to the point where I'm like, that's the one thing, that's the one time that when my brain just goes, it's gonna affect my Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah.
But like I skip it because it's always playing. Like no matter what genre I'm listening to, they're like, hey, you've listened to this song before, and we know you like it, so we're gonna keep pushing it on you. Yeah, that one's always there.
Yeah.
It was in my top songs playlist.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly.
Yeah. So, all right, number 4.
Number 4 for me was Dusk Today by Polaris. I am surprised how few Polaris songs were in this, to be honest, and I'm surprised at, well, anyways. But yeah, Polaris, I just love their lyricism so much, like mixed with the way that their sound, the heavy with like they have some great guitar solos and just everything that's all punchy, and they've got great lyricism. But yeah, Dusk Today, I really like the lyrics on that one, and it's a very like, there's a lot of like calm like lyrics, and like the music's really calm, and then the chorus kicks in really heavy, and there's some like nice chugging heavy riffs. It's just very good song.
I have not been able to get into them. I listen to them every once in a while because you're priced, because you're into them, and I'm like, just not for me.
Yeah.
I had no crossover between top 5 artists and top 5 songs. None.
No.
Like, not a single one of my top 5 songs is written by any of my top 5 artists, but that's what I was saying is the podcast definitely skewed my music a little.
Right.
But I didn't have any Glorious Sun songs in my top 5, which is surprising because I thought for sure Pink Motel was going to be in there. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Because that song is also one of my top favorite songs right now because I think that's a freaking good song. Anyways, number 4 is a song called Maple Syrup by the Backseat Lovers. I was really surprised that they were not in my top 20 at all. I literally like double checked because when I was sitting there trying to figure out who my last one that I was missing was, I double checked because I'm like, really, they're not in there. It's several.
I had to keep double checking on Spirit Box. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, I had several of the songs saved. Maple Syrup was hitting a lot in my rotation, and another song of theirs called Pool House was like,
yeah, I know that song.
yeah. And so they're like, when I say I was getting into blues, like, I use that term very lightly because I'm not getting into like what you would traditionally think of blues. I'm into like, I've got a lot of that saved. Yeah, but like a lot of like my blues playlist also just has like a lot of sadder kind of chillish guitar music with sadderish kind of lyrics, and it also has like what's how am I trying to describe it?
Like when I say like blues rock, I think of like when you have had a bad day at work and you go to like the dingy dive bar to have a drink, and this is the song that's playing on the jukebox. That's kind of what I picture blues rock is like, just like kind of sadder, like melancholy,
Yeah,
glum kind of sounding, but still rock.
And I like a lot. I've been getting into that sound where the people aren't really like they're not the great singers. So like in Maple Syrup, he gets to the point where it's like, "Were you lying?" and gets like a little raspier, almost like yelling kind of vibe when they're singing. Like I like that, and that kind of I don't know. It all hits like the same chord on my in my brain for me, and so it all gets lumped into a playlist together that has a lot of blues in it. So it's called Clues Blues is that playlist.
Nice.
So, but yeah, so definitely a band worth checking out. By the way, the Backseat Lovers. They're not in my top 20, so I'm going to talk about them now. Anyways,
Number 3, Frozen by Rain City Drive. There it is.
there we go.
That's just sweetness. That's really the song that made me realize I need to actually listen to these guys.
Yeah,
Like that was one of the it might have been the first single that they released for their newest album this year. But yeah, that one's been heavy in rotation all year long. Not surprised to see it in my top 5. And honestly, that song alone is why I'm surprised they weren't in my top 5 as much as I listened to that song.
yeah. That's why I remember you suggesting that song and being like, yeah, now this is really getting me into them. So I was really shocked that they didn't.
Yep.
Team Crack in there because they are a good band. They're very good. So, all right, my number 3 or number 3, right? This is a song called Willie's Song by The Moss.
That's Song by the Moss.
Yeah, it's another kind of, this is, they'd probably be, let's see here, like indie maybe. Let's see here. The albums they appear on is feel good indie rock, rockin' vibes. So like maybe some you could call them alt rock for sure. So
Willie's Song by the Moss makes me think like real bluegrassy country. That's the vibe I get from hearing those 4 words.
definitely not country, but this song is currently on pace to be my number 1 song of this year because Spotify puts this up. No matter what the playlist is, this song is in it, and they play it first as soon as
The Willie's Song by the Moss is your Nerves by the Story Bar.
I love this song. I'm like, please stop. I don't want to hate this.
I want to like this on my own accord.
It really, Spotify is really trying to just like basically just not become a thing anymore. They're trying to become like a Netflix where people hate them and it's annoying and they're not really great anymore.
But I've just put in so much work on Spotify, like making playlists and as much as the algorithm sucks, it is tuned to me more or less.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to start all over somewhere else. I've heard Prime Music is really good, but
Oh, really?
I haven't even tried.
Well, every Apple user likes, well, not every Apple user, every Apple Music user likes to try and convince you that Apple Music was somehow really good.
I don't have that option. I'm not
I'm
not rich like you.
supposedly like the music, like the settings Apple Music uses makes it sound,
Dude, I swear Spotify upgraded their sound this year. I swear they did. Like there's been songs that I've listened to. I'm like, whoa, that's a new sound. Like, am I listening to a different like version or something? I'm like, no, it's just something I hadn't heard before. Maybe I just got better earbuds. I did. These are new earbuds, but maybe I just got better earbuds. I don't know.
Did you get your go to the doctor and get like that ear cleaning thing? It was like,
I have done that before. Well, it's upsetting when you see it come out. You're like, that was in there. It's like a worm. Yeah, dude, it's the most unpleasant feeling when they do it. It's so bad.
but it elevates your music listening. It really does. If we take this show to the next level, we're gonna need weekly doctor appointed ear cleaning.
Or we can just like we can ear candle ourselves before every episode. I've always wanted to try it, but I'm scared to just like light something on fire and put it on my ear
Yeah,
because
we don't. What do you mean put out? You just put a candle, you just hold your ear over, and it just slowly heats it up enough for it to drip out.
Oh, I thought it was like a cone or something. I thought you put it on top and light it and it like pulls the wax out. Oh,
I don't think so.
you hold your head above an open flame?
I've never ear candle either. I guess that's just what I always assume. It doesn't. It's not like a bucket. You're not like cooking it, but you hold it up so that
it's hot enough to melt something inside your head, but not hot enough to burn your ear?
now that you say it, I'm like,
I don't think that that's right. I thought it could have sort like I'm pretty sure it's like there's like a cone that like is like a plastic cone or something. It was maybe a tube that goes into your ear or something, and then there's a candle that sits on top of it, and the heat gets in the cone and like pulls it out or something. Or maybe it does just loosen it so that you can clean it with a swab or whatever. I don't know.
no, because you're not supposed to swab that. It's supposed to replace swabbing. Swabbing pushes it further in your ear. Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't care. I use
You know what? Now, yeah, I was just gonna say from now on, I'm just gonna bust out the vacuum and put the whole hose up to my ear.
just go to the car wash with those free vacuums
Yeah.
and just they've got them on both sides. You'll just sit. Okay.
The guy next to me is like, "Are you done vacuuming your ear? I'd like to clean out my car."
Okay.
All right, number 2 for me was "It's Only Smiles" by Periphery. I was actually very surprised to see this one in the top 5 at all.
Did I submit this in like Musically?
I did.
Oh, that must have been where I found it then. That's surprising. Okay, because I've had
But I mean, I really liked the song. The guitar work is fantastic on the Periphery's guitar work in general is just great, but this song just clicked with me this year. But I was surprised to see it in top 5. I didn't think I listened to it that much.
I've not listened to Periphery, but I do have this song saved, and that song is a great song.
Banger.
Definitely okay song in that in number 2.
It sounds like it's a song about losing someone important to you. It sounds like he was talking about his mom. At least that's the vibe I got. So, like, I guess I don't know why it clicked with me so potently because my mom's not dead, but I don't know.
But you moved to Greenville, so now
I guess that's why. Might as well be. Bye for Papa.
all right. TikTok got me for my number 2.
Is it, uh, 10 toes in when I'm standing on in the summer?
No, I'm not.
I was gonna, oh my goodness.
I'm
I'm college educated millions out here right now. I'm roasting anyone who let that get into their top 5.
Big Stepper, isn't it? Yeah, at least that's what he said. Big Stepper, because it's gotten submitted. The music, like I was sitting there listening. I was like, "What the?"
It's catchy. It's very catchy. I remember seeing it. I don't watch TikTok because I'm an adult.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it on Instagram. I saw like a clip of the music video where they're in like that circular cage and driving dirt bikes and cars around the circle while he's in the middle singing. That's a pretty cool music video, and that's how I found it. I was like, that's a bop. But now it's just everywhere.
yeah.
Oh wait, so is it gonna be?
You know what it is. You're gonna know as soon as I say "Beautiful Things" by Benson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a TikTok song. I know it was a radio song. I didn't know it was a TikTok song.
So I found it because of TikTok, and it got so basically like the um please don't
Yeah.
or take these beautiful things. That was like it's great. He released that little bit of audio before the song was released, and as soon as he released that, because I found it like almost as soon as he released it, I got it in a reel. And it seems like as soon as he like announced that song was coming out, and then before the song even came out, that little snippet was like trending everywhere. Like it was just a super popular like
I'm not
Instagram
surprised.
So I assume it was Instagram/TikTok that made it famous, and it was so famous that when it finally released,
Yeah.
it was everywhere.
Okay.
And it's honestly a very good song. So that's a great song. That's a great song, and it's a Christian song. Oh, all of you.
Really? Well, I mean, I know it's like a prayer, I guess.
Yeah, the whole chorus is a prayer.
Yeah.
So so nice to everyone that wasn't really listening to the actual audio. They just knew it was a trending audio, so they're putting it in. But it's cool to hate Christians now, so they're like, "Oh crap, I didn't know I was jamming out to that's all over my Instagram profile."
Shout out Jesus.
Because I didn't really realize either. Like I was like listening to it, and then I was like, "Oh man, that's an actual prayer." I didn't even realize when I first was waiting for it to come out. But I was actually as soon as I saw like the little snippet, yeah, like I was like, "Oh man, I want to listen to that song. That's pretty good." I went and looked him up, and then I was like, "Oh, it's not even releasing it. You freaking suck, Benson, teasing you, friggin' Benson."
Benson and his teases. So, number one for me was another Polaris song. Not the one that I thought it would be. I honestly thought it might be the same top song from last year was also a Polaris song, but this year it was "All of This Is Fleeting," which I think it's because of Spotify's algorithm. I think is what it was, because this isn't really one of my favorite songs by them, but it's the one that came up the most.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times when I was really getting into them that I would go to the Polaris radio
Yeah.
and like listen to them and then like a bunch of bands like them.
Yeah.
This one was always coming up. So I
Yeah.
think it was the algorithm did this to me, but not a bad song by any stretch, because if it was, I would have skipped it, but just surprised to see it at number 1.
I think Spotify got me for the same thing with my number 1 too. So my number 1 was, I never remember the name of the band, but it was "Oh My My" by Blue October.
Yeah.
So fantastic. I love this song, and when I first found it, I was listening to it a lot, but I found it like at the beginning of last year, I think. Like it's been a while since I first found this song, and I listened to it a lot, but then I stopped listening to it because I didn't want to beat it to death,
Yeah.
and I just kind of kept not listening to it, but Spotify kept bringing it up, and I would just let it play.
Yeah.
So Spotify, I think, helped that get in there, but I definitely did it.
October's like one of those like 90s bands, aren't they? They're from like the 90s or 2000s, I feel.
I went to their I actually went and listened to them, and I actually checked to see if they were in my top 20, but they were not. But I went and listened to them, and I didn't really like most of their other music, to be totally honest. This is by far not their most popular song. Like it's in their top 5 on
Is
Spotify.
On the Ocean their top song?
Second top. Hate Me is.
Because I think Into the Ocean was one that I found this year. I was like, wow, that one was on repeat a lot for me this year.
In 97 is when
He said,
is when that came out. So that was, they just had an album called Happy Birthday.
was it this year?
It's, yeah, it
And
looks
we
like
didn't review it.
it's a Bill Zimmerman remix of a bunch of different songs. That's all. Every single, absolutely no idea, but every single one almost is a Bill Zimmerman. And
I wonder if it's, I bet it's like some sort of EDM.
And then the other ones there's one that's Hargo dash the Egg Night Mix, and then Dreaming or Pretending dash the Egg Mix, which I guess is different than the Egg Night Mix.
Well, yeah, one's for the morning, one's for the
Yeah, so, but, yeah, anyways, random tangent. Oh My Mind by Blue October. My top
song. How many minutes did you have?
Not as much as you, but more than last year. 72,098.
I had 98,039. I'm going for 100K this year. Did you see, I won't name drop her, but we have a mutual friend that had like 180 something thousand.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of those people that leaves something playing overnight so that
Yes.
one song or artist gets in the number one spot over at the end of the year.
Well, I do remember that mutual friend. I remember them last year posting because I was like, oh, I do know. It was a box band sound was like,
Oh, so it's like sleep sounds.
yeah, okay, so yeah, I guess it was something that was on their top, and I think this year they like said that's not in our, like, you know how you can say don't count this towards my whatever, like my algorithm.
Oh, really?
You can do that. You told me about that.
I guess it.
Because I told you I was worried that like the Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exclude from my listening history or whatever.
Yeah. So I that might be what it is, because are you even awake for 185,000 minutes a year? That's a joke, obviously, but
I don't know how many minutes are in a year. What's that Rent song?
6,000 minutes.
That's from Rent.
I just thought it was from The Office.
Well, they did like a spoof house.
And that was a spoof.
I don't know. You really don't know Toots, man.
I don't, and I'm trying to keep it that way. So let's not research Rent or anything like that. But yeah, so 72,000, which is still, of all the people I like to see, that's another reason I like seeing people's Spotify ass. I'm like, am I cooler than you? Because I listen to more.
Because I listen to more music. I don't even think, because
Yeah,
literally I work 10-hour days and I just have an earbud in all day long. So like, I'm not surprised. I am actually a little surprised I didn't hit 100, because I feel like I might have hit 100 last year, didn't I? And let's go look at our one Instagram post.
go look at Instagram, because our most recent one is this year, and the second most recent is last year's. So no,
Our social media manager sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 106,000 minutes last year.
Yeah.
Off.
I was a little surprised. I honestly was surprised I went up. I thought I'd go down because I got more into like having YouTube playing in the background when I'm doing stuff around the house, or like Hulu. I watched a lot of Hulu.
You went up by 6,000 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what, 10 hours? Is that right? No, that's 1 hour.
100 hours. 6,000 minutes is
Not 1 hour. Why am I trying to convert from seconds? I went all the way back to seconds, and then I was like, okay, so that makes minutes, and no, that was incorrect. So I don't know Toots or math, dude.
Yeah, but I was surprised I went up, especially since Alyssa and I shared a Spotify account up until like end of last year. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going down this year.
You got on that duo grind.
Yeah, it's not even a deal.
Is it?
No.
Because for a long time, every time I open Spotify, they're like, hey, you should try to do like this big old pop-up ad.
Yeah, I thought it would be. And then I got it and I was like, wait, what? That was a waste of time. So I was like, I should have just gotten her own separate student one.
Yeah.
It was whatever.
And now the moment's passed. Shout out our sister-in-law. a doctor now.
Graduating.
Or my sister-in-law, your wife, not our sister.
Yeah, my wife, graduating with her doctorate of physical therapy. Good job, Alyssa. Love you, babe.
Alyssa Flatulence Schultz.
Alyssa Flatulence Schultz.
Jordan, actually. Schultz. Jordan Schultz. Well, yeah, they called her out as her maiden name. Was that intentional? Like,
that's her last name. But yeah, so there you have it. Our top. I want to go through. We're gonna crank out, just like give you guys our top 10. And then I had like a few surprises, not surprises, but few new artists that I definitely want to point out and recommend to some people. But so my number 6. First of all, also shout out to my wife for figuring this out once. Rob and I spent absolute idiot.
okay, so yeah,
hours going.
the way we thought, because I saw on Twitter that you could find your top 20 artists by basically just guessing who you think they might be and then clicking share on their artist profile, and then it'll show up, and if there's like a number, then they're in your top 20 for the year. So I thought you just had to guess, but yeah, this is why we keep a doctor around.
So if you're listening to this right now, there's no way Spotify does not fix rap or do some drastic changes to rap to make it better next year, because it was like international news of how much it was hated. But you can go to the AI and have the AI create a playlist for you. And so just type in, make a playlist with my top 20 artists, because I could not find artist number 15 anywhere. Like I had no.
I was struggling on 19 for a long time.
So so I went to that, and that's how I found my 15th. I was like, okay, I was so cooked trying. But anyways, here's my number 6, Fall Out Boy. First time they've been out of my top 5 in a long time. Honestly, they just end up there. But I have grown a lot musically this year, so that's not surprising. Number 7, who was surprising because I didn't realize how much I had. There's Friday Pilots Club. I don't know if you've listened to them.
Yeah, I like them. I'm not a big indie guy.
Yeah, I got a lot of indie on my list this year. The Struts was number 8. Barnes Courtney was my number 9. Who he's got some good jams. Supernatural.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I went and listened to them for off your
them. Anytime it's a band with a guy's name, I just assume it's one person. I don't know. So I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. And then number 10 was Danny Warsnop, baby.
Oh, yes, in Alexandria turned blues.
Yep. It was, and that's what I'm saying. I was getting into blues, and he's got a lot of that blues with like the saxophone.
Surprising career shift. Like, here's some really screamy emo metal. Actually, let's try blues.
This dude's got some range.
The man's got it like that.
But yeah, so top 10. That's my. Now you have my top 10, guys. I know you've been writing these down.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, realistically, if you're listening to us, you may or may not be looking for new music. So
Yeah. So I mean,
we haven't named anything. I mean, it sounds like you're naming a little more underground than I am, especially when I name these 6, these next 5. Because my number 6 was Amberlin. They were number 1 last year. I'm surprised they fell all the way to 6, because it's not like I stopped listening.
They were your number 1 last year.
But they got a new singer. Their lead singer stepped away, and Matty Mullins from Memphis May Fire is now their lead singer. And I don't know that he's problematic. I believe he's problematic in the way that Warped Tour singers are often problematic.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true. I'm not trying to slander anybody, but I know that there's something about him, and I didn't do any research, but I know there's something out there about him that makes him a little unlikable. And I don't think they released an EP this year, which was okay. It wasn't. It sounded like Amberlin's music, but it just sounds different with his voice on it. Is all.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a softer Memphis May Fire. But number 7, here they are, Rain City Drive. Surprised they were all the way down at number 7, but whatever.
Marry me.
Number 8 was Bring Me the Horizon. They had a new album this year, so that probably pushed them up a little bit since we reviewed that new album. But I also really like Bring Me the Horizon. Number 9, Trophy Eyes. Surprised they were down that far, which I would have sworn they'd have been in my top 5. And number 10, for some reason, Eminem. I don't listen to a ton of new Eminem, but he also had a new album this year that I listened to.
That is very surprising.
Yeah. Don't look at my answers. Are we not?
No. Honestly, I'll peek behind the scenes, guys. I'm pulling up something on Spotify, so I wanted to make sure I got your top 10 really quick. So I was looking through your top 10 really quick. So yeah, So your Trophy Eyes was 9.
Yeah.
Mine was a little lower than that. Trophy Eyes ended up at 14 for me.
Huh.
So
Well, then what was your 11 through 15?
all right. You know what? Let's go through. We're going through our top 20.
Yeah, we're doing. Because we put in so much work. Fine. When we didn't have to.
We're going on an hour here, so we'll be quick with this. All right. 11 was 4 Years Strong. That's not surprising because they had the album, and I have a lot of those songs saved already. Number 12 was a new one for me this year called Des Rocks. DES. I think because we were gonna
do their album.
that band is a good
That was a
rock
great.
sound. I like that band a lot. So definitely if you like that rock, alt rock, it definitely gets more rock.
Yeah.
So I would listen to him. Number 13, Stevie Wonder made it into my number 13 spot, dude. I've got a lot of his songs saved like in my blues playlist, and I was enjoying his music a lot, and I was even finding it like watching an episode of something. I'm like, man, I like that song a lot, and I'd look it up, and I'm like, oh, that was the Stevie Wonder song. Nice. So Stevie Wonder 13, Trophy Eyes 14, like I said. 15, the one that took me forever that I found because of the AI thing. A band called Kaleo, Kaleo.
Yeah, I know one or two of their songs.
I don't know what you rock. They're definitely a rock of some genre. I actually just went and looked them up. That's what I was looking up. I did not realize that they must be really popular because I only have one of their top 5 songs saved because I haven't actually really gone through. That's why I didn't even look them up to see if they were one of my top bands because I don't have that many of their songs saved. So I was really surprised.
Yeah.
But their top song has 1.2 billion streams.
Sheesh. Oh yeah, that's the one I know. I had that one saved.
Oh, so it's good, I guess.
That's all right.
I
That might be the only song I know by them.
so
Oh, it looks like a hymn, just one guy.
oh, okay.
But Chill rock, totally stress free. That's not the vibe I would have.
That's not the vibe I.
Because there's also rock solid and ultimate rock gaming. But what do I know?
But it's got a very rock vibe. So that's my 11 through 15. So I was Stevie Wonder. That's definitely someone I've only been listening to this year. Des Rocks was new for me. Those were 2 bands I was gonna point out.
Yeah.
Well, not bad. I wasn't gonna point out Stevie Wonder. I was just gonna be like, look how cultured I am, guys.
11 for me was Dayseeker. I guess that I'm not surprised to see them at that rank. I wouldn't be surprised to see them higher, but Dayseeker I really like. Number 12 was Breaking Benjamin, just a band that has always been in my rotation as long as I've been alive. And they came out with a new single this year. I guess might be coming out with a new album next year. I don't
Really?
Our brother
The Bensons, are they still like?
yeah, they're still around. They know that song with Starset last year.
That's right. Yeah.
And then our one brother sent me. He was talking about going to see they're going on tour with I think Stained or someone that I am familiar with but wouldn't intentionally go see.
I have one Stained song saved.
Number 12 was Breaking Benjamin. Number 13 was Fall Out Boy. I was surprised to see them fall that low. And 14 was 4 Years Strong, and 15 was Hot Mulligan.
Hot Mulligan, really? I keep hearing songs of theirs, and I'm like, dude, I just need to sit and actually listen to their music.
They've got a lot of good songs. I like a lot of Hot Mulligan.
That's not surprising.
16, I'm a little embarrassed to admit, but 16 was Drake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because he's put out so many bangers over the year. I'm gonna go on record saying Kendrick very clearly won because Drake's out here trying to sue him.
Yeah,
and Drake's also a certified pedophile and just accidentally dropped the bar.
Yeah,
I didn't even mean to quote the song, but he's a certified pedophile, and so is his crew, and so it's a little embarrassing that he's up there. But he's just had so many bangers over the years that I've got it all over all these different.
Yes, plus you and there's probably a high percentage of Spotify listeners that have Drake in their top 20.
Oh,
just because I mean, it sucks to say that, once you're so famous that you can do some pretty terrible things. People are still gonna gobble up your product.
Once you sell your soul, you're kind of untouchable. 17 was State Champs. Kind of surprised they were down that far because they're often my top 5.
Yeah.
18 was J. Cole. 19 was A Day to Remember, and 20 was Odessa. So I rounded it out with something that wasn't rock or rap. A little bit of EDM and
you mixed it up, and what I love about you is
my last 5 came through for me. Well, my last 4 came through for me.
Nice. All right, so my top, I've got some other ones I was going to point out on this. So number 16, the Black Keys. There's some that I had really not listened to because I remember.
They were in my top 5 last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had not really listened to them, and then I started listening to them this year. Probably because of you. You probably suggested a song or something. Nice. And then they just started getting like music suggested in the shuffle. So I was like, and I kept adding it. I did not realize they were as popular as they were, honestly, because I had never heard of them before.
Really? They're around here. They're from Ohio.
Cool.
Canada, I think.
No, they're Ohio. Oh, Canton. I thought you said Canada. I'm like, you literally just said Ohio, bro. Yeah, so I think Canton sounds right. But so because I submitted a song and I was like, this song's an absolute jam. And I'm like, oh, it didn't do that good in the music label. So I was like, well, I mean, I like it. Like it's an alright song, but they've got better ones. And I was like, oh, so I guess I guess I'm the only one who didn't know about the Black Keys.
Slept all the boys and looked like
Okay.
a fool.
Yeah, so Black Key 17 is a band that I definitely want to suggest, and I've been trying not to give their songs as suggestions here because they're good.
Of our game.
Yeah, it's because of our stupid game.
Ruins
It's
this.
Lost Coast, LOS Coast.
Okay.
Alyssa submitted one of his songs, and that's how I found him. And then I went and listened, and he's got several songs. Like, he's got some music that I don't really like, but he's just got a lot of songs that I really like that fits in with the blues really well. So definitely check out Lost Coast. 18 is State Champs. 19 is Bring Me the Horizon because of our podcast. I've got some of those songs saved in the Ocean Jams playlist, but I realized I found them because I went through our podcast. I'm like, all right, who am I missing? I was like, oh yeah, duh. And then 20, this was surprising, was Green Day.
Well, we did review them this year. They had new.
That was
it?
Year?
Oh, that might have been last year.
No,
I'm pretty sure it was this year.
I still have our YouTube pulled up. No, I don't. I suck. Yeah, but I have our. I was just surprised because I don't really listen to them that much. So we must have had them.
Yeah, it was this year. Yours was this year.
That makes sense then, because I was really surprised when that
goes January, so very early this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, nothing against. I like Green Day and they've got songs that I like, but I was quite surprised, that they made it in there. So, but so there you have it, guys. All of those bands, every single one, you now have a year's worth of new music to listen to if you have not heard of any of those bands, which Fall Out Boy's really underground.
Yeah, of course. The Fall Out Boy.
So, but definitely give those a listen, especially if you're into that blues rock vibe. I definitely hit up some good options for that. Rob, if you're into the heavier stuff, Rob's definitely got some solid picks.
I've got you covered.
So there you have it, Squadron. Thanks for coming by. We're going to give you some steaming hot suggestions. Rob, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So Under Oath released a new EP. Well, they released 3 singles. But they keep adding them to the same EP, I guess. But Teeth was the first one that they released. It's not what you would expect from Under Oath. It's still heavy, but it's a very different sound if you are like familiar with old school classic Under Oath, like Writing on the Walls or Boy Brushed in Red or whatever. Like, it's not that sound, but it's still very heavy, and it's it's a very fun sound for metal. So Teeth by Under Oath would be my suggestion for the week.
Nice. All right. I'm going to give you I'm double checking that I haven't suggested it because I was pretty sure I hadn't, but I don't want to look like an absolute idiot. But so the song called Atlantic City by The Wilderness. That song, I actually thought they might be in my top 20 because I have a couple of their songs saved now. I haven't gone through and listened to them though, so it's not surprising that they're not. But definitely, this one, I would call it blues. I don't know. It's got at least a kind of chill, I don't know. Just listen to the song, guys. It's got a good vibe, and it's
Atlantic City by the Wilderness.
The Wilderness. I don't know. I'm looking to see what early albums modified. I've tried to find it. I'm looking at what kind of. They're not even on many albums. They must not be. Yeah, only 15.7 thousand listeners. That's not surprising. That they don't have many playlists, I guess. But yeah, so I'll give you that one, guys. That's a good one. Definitely give it a listen. Freebie Motown. That's it. I'm not gonna suggest something. I'm not gonna suggest another one of their songs on this podcast again. So Motown's the other one I really like by them. But
you've also used that one before, I think, too.
Yeah. So Atlantic City by The Wilderness.
Well, there we have it, kiddos. Spotify Wrapped, hoping for better next year.
Come on. You can do
And
it.
I'm gonna try to manipulate my stats as much as possible.
All right. Join us next time where we're going to talk about our personal, if we had to think of it off the top of our head without Spotify giving us data, what our top music would, what our favorite albums of the year from this year. Yes, releases of this year is what we're going to be giving up. So thanks for tooting along with us, just listening in on our toots, and we'll catch you next time. This is Stephen Flashy Schultz signing out for the both of us. Have a good one.